Ladies, let's be real when it comes to love. Emotions can sometimes take over. We get caught up in the excitement, the attention, the way he makes us feel, and we start planning the future before we've even asked the most important question: is this man truly meant for me? Too many women skip the most important step before giving their heart away. They don't pray about that man. They don't seek clarity from the one who knows his heart better than he does. If you desire real love, if you want something that is built on a foundation that can last, then you can't afford to rely only on feeling. You have to bring this relationship before God and ask him to reveal the truth. Because when you pray, you're not just asking for a blessing over your relationship, you're asking for wisdom, for protection, and for direction. You're asking God to show you what you can't see on your own. When you meet someone who excites you, who makes you feel special, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of it all. You start imagining the possibilities, picturing a future together, and believing that this could be the relationship you've been waiting for. But emotions alone are not enough to determine if a man is truly right for you. Feelings can be misleading, and attraction can blind you to the things that really matter. This is why praying for discernment is so important. It allows you to see beyond what your heart wants and into what is actually real. Discernment is about clarity. It's about asking God to open your eyes to the truth, whether that truth is what you want to hear or not. Because the reality is some men are very good at presenting themselves in the best possible light. They say all the right things, they do just enough to keep you interested, and they make you feel wanted. But just because a man makes you feel good doesn't mean he is good for you. When you pray for discernment, you're asking God to help you see past the surface and into the depth of his character. You're asking for the ability to recognize inconsistencies, hidden intentions, and any red flags that might be easy to ignore when emotions are involved. Sometimes the truth is already in front of you, but you don't want to see it. You might notice things about him that make you uneasy, how he handles conflict, how he treats others, how he speaks about commitment, but because you're attached to the idea of what he could be, you push those concerns aside. Prayer helps bring those things back into focus. It forces you to acknowledge the things you've been overlooking. It allows you to see whether this relationship is built on a solid foundation or just a moment of excitement that won't last. Praying for discernment also protects you from wasting your time. Some relationships are distractions. They pull you away from your purpose, drain your energy, and leave you emotionally exhausted. When you pray for discernment, you're asking God to remove anything that is not meant for you, no matter how much you may want it. You're asking him to guide you toward a relationship that is healthy, fulfilling, and aligned with his plan for your life. Many women make the mistake of assuming that time alone will reveal the truth. While time does have a way of exposing who someone really is, discernment speeds up that process. It helps you recognize patterns and behaviors that indicate whether a man is serious, honest, and truly invested in you. It allows you to distinguish between a man who is just saying what you want to hear and a man who is actually showing up for you in a meaningful way. Praying for discernment also gives you peace of mind. When you rely only on your own judgment, you can second guess yourself, overanalyze everything, and struggle with doubt. But when you bring your relationship before God and ask him to show you what you need to see, you can move forward with confidence. Whether that means continuing the relationship or walking away, you'll know that your decision is based on wisdom, not just emotions. It's important to remember that discernment isn't just about identifying the wrong men, it's also about recognizing the right one when he comes. Sometimes fear of past experiences can make you hesitant to trust a good man when he appears. You might find yourself doubting his intentions or pushing him away because you've been hurt before. But discernment helps you differentiate between healthy caution and unnecessary fear. It helps you see when a man is genuinely trying to love you the right way so that you don't sabotage something that is actually meant for you. At the end of the day, love is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make. Who you choose to give your heart to will impact your happiness, your peace, and even your future. That's why you cannot afford to rely solely on what you feel in the moment. Feelings change, attraction fades, but wisdom, clarity, and discernment will always lead you in the right direction. When emotions are involved, it's easy to move forward without thinking about where the relationship is truly going. A man can come into your life, make you feel special, give you attention, and suddenly you're caught up in the potential of what could be. But before you invest your heart, your time, and your energy, you have to ask a very important question. Is this relationship aligned with my purpose? This is why praying for direction is so necessary. It's not just about whether this man is interested in you. It's about whether this relationship is leading you somewhere meaningful. Many women find themselves in situations where they entertain a man for months or even years, only to realize that they were never on the same page from the start. He wanted something casual while she wanted something serious. He was looking for temporary companionship while she was looking for a lifetime partner. These are the kinds of situations that could have been avoided if direction had been sought early on. When you pray for direction, you're asking God to reveal whether this man is a part of his plan for your life or just a detour. There are times when a relationship feels good, but something deep inside tells you that it's not quite right. Maybe you sense that you're compromising your values. Maybe you notice that you're changing yourself just to keep the connection alive. Maybe you feel a growing sense of unease that you can't explain. That's when you have to stop and ask for guidance. Because when something is truly meant for you, it won't require you to sacrifice your peace or abandon the things that matter most to you. Praying for direction also helps you avoid relationships that lead to heartbreak. A man can be a good person and still not be the right person for you. He can treat you well, he can have great qualities, but if your lives are not heading in the same direction, the relationship will eventually reach a breaking point. This is why it's not enough to just ask, is he a good man? You have to ask, is he the man God intends for me? Because when God is in the center of your relationship, things will flow in a way that makes sense. There will be alignment in your values, in your vision for the future, and in your spiritual growth. Many women struggle with letting go of relationships that don't serve them because they are afraid of starting over. They tell themselves that if they just hold on a little longer, things might change. They ignore their intuition, they ignore the warning signs, and they convince themselves that they can make it work. But when you pray for direction, you are asking God to remove any confusion, any hesitation, and any fear. You are asking him to show you whether this relationship is worth pursuing or whether it's time to walk away. Direction also gives you the confidence to move forward when the right man does come into your life. Sometimes women hesitate to fully embrace a good relationship because they are afraid of getting hurt again. They overthink, they question everything, and they resist vulnerability. But when you pray for direction, you gain the assurance that this relationship is where you are meant to be. You don't have to force anything, you don't have to live in doubt, and you don't have to wonder if you're making the right choice. It's important to remember that praying for direction isn't just about relationships that already exist, it's about preparing yourself for the right one. Sometimes the answer you receive isn't about whether a man is right for you, but whether you are ready for love. Maybe there are areas in your life that need healing. Maybe there are personal goals you need to focus on first. Maybe God is telling you to be patient because something better is on the way. Praying for direction isn't about rushing into something. It's about making sure that when you do move forward, you're walking in alignment with what is truly best for you. When you open your heart to a man, you are allowing him access to one of the most precious parts of you, your emotions, your love, your trust. But not every man values that access the way he should. Some men come into your life with good intentions, while others only take what they can get without considering how it affects you. This is why praying for protection is so important. You are not just praying for physical safety, but for the protection of your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Because once you give yourself to the wrong man, it can take a long time to recover from the damage. Many women have been in situations where they ignored the warning signs and ended up deeply hurt. They saw the red flags but convinced themselves things would change. They ignored their intuition because they wanted so badly for the relationship to work. They believed his words even when his actions told a different story. And by the time they realized the truth, their heart was already broken. That's why protection is something you must seek from the beginning, not just after things go wrong. When you pray for protection, you are asking God to shield you from men who do not have pure intentions. You are asking for the strength to walk away from relationships that will only bring you pain. You are asking for wisdom to see through manipulation, deceit, and emotional games before you get too deeply invested. Protection is also about guarding your peace. Some relationships drain you mentally and emotionally. They bring stress, anxiety, and confusion instead of love and security. A man who is not truly for you will disrupt your peace in subtle ways. At first, one day, it's small disappointments. The next is broken promises. And before you know it, you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells. When you pray for protection, you are asking God to remove anything that threatens your peace before it takes a toll on your well-being. You are seeking the kind of love that nurtures you, not one that wears you down. One of the biggest traps women fall into is mistaking attention for love. Just because a man shows interest in you doesn't mean he values you. Just because he makes time for you doesn't mean he respects you. And just because he says all the right things doesn't mean his intentions are genuine. Praying for protection helps you distinguish between a man who truly wants to build something meaningful with you and a man who is only around for his own benefit. It helps you recognize when you're being used, when you're being strung along, and when you're being emotionally manipulated. Praying for protection also helps you avoid toxic cycles. Some women find themselves in patterns of unhealthy relationships, attracting the same kind of men who mistreat them over and over again. This isn't always because they choose bad men on purpose. It's because they haven't yet healed from past wounds. When you don't heal, you tend to accept less than you deserve, and you unconsciously allow certain behaviors because they feel familiar. But when you ask for protection, you're not just asking God to keep you from bad men, you're asking him to heal you from anything inside you that keeps attracting them. Protection is also about timing. Sometimes the right person comes into your life, but the timing is wrong. Maybe he's not ready. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe the circumstances just aren't aligned. Instead of forcing something that isn't meant to be, praying for protection allows you to trust the process. It helps you let go of relationships that aren't developing in a healthy way instead of holding on out of fear of being alone. Above all, praying for protection reminds you that you don't have to navigate relationships on your own. It takes the pressure off of trying to figure everything out by yourself. It gives you confidence that you are not making decisions based solely on emotions, but with divine guidance. It reassures you that even if you walk away from the wrong man, you are still walking towards something better. So before you give that man your time, before you give him your energy, before you give him your heart, pray. Because when you bring your love life before God, he will guide you, he will protect you, and he will always lead you toward what's best for you. You should pray about that man because prayer gives you clarity that emotions alone can't provide. It helps reveal whether his intentions align with God's plan for your life or just your own desires. Most importantly, prayer protects your heart, guiding you to choose love that will uplift you rather than break you.